Fred Whitton Challenge is renowned as being the hardest cyclosportive here in the UK. 112 miles, that's 180 kilometres, but a staggering amount of climbing, 3,170 metres of some of the steepest climbing you can find here in the UK. And you're about to meet a young man who's just completed this route in a staggering 5 hours, 45 minutes. Now, to put that in context, what is considered a very good time is anything under 8 hours, an exceptional time under 7. Only 12 riders this year managed to get under 6. This guy is 20 years old. He's been working for us for about 8 months now. I'd like to introduce you to Henry. Let me introduce you to Henry Hunter. Welcome to the YouTube channel for the first time. You've been working with us for about 8 months. And if you've been a customer of ours, it's very likely that you've met Henry, because he's normally the first person to answer the phone and greet you as you come through the door. Congratulations on an amazing Fred Whitton run. 5 hours, 45 minutes and 56 seconds is your official time.
Thank you. Yes.
And I want to talk about this because you've been preparing for this over the last 3 years. And what I think is the most inspiring part of what you're about to watch is how this young guy, under 20, you're the first under 20, and how much preparation and training you put into this. And it's really inspiring. And I hope we can learn a bit from you, if that's okay. So 2 people ahead of you, Chris Paul, Harold Evans from the Cole team.
Yeah.
And they finished with exactly the same time. So they were working together. Yeah. You were pretty much on your own, a few groups?
It was a bit messy.
Yeah.
Best it's good pace to start from the start, isn't it?
Yeah. So let's talk a bit about your actual on-the-day strategy. You set off quite late?
7:30.
7:30, so quite late, because you can start from 6:30, can't you?
6 o'clock,
6 o'clock. So you were quite a late starter. What was the strategy in that? Just thinking?
I think that's when everyone else wanted to go, so I'm not going to ride by myself.
So you wanted to try and get in a bit of a group?
Yeah, okay. Exactly.
And you set up the first part of the route, rolls out of Ambleside, and then you very quickly get into Kirkstone, where I think you met David Arthur.
I did. I didn't know he was there, but...
You saw yourself on his channel.
I saw myself on
Did you see his finishing time?
7:15.
Yeah, 7:15. He did all right, didn't he?
He did well, yeah.
So I saw your pictures of you going up Kirkstone. You were setting a pace.
Yeah.
Do you know how fast you got up to Kirkstone?
Just over 24 minutes from the bottom of Holbeck Lane.
That's incredible. People wouldn't do that if only they were doing Kirkstone, let alone the rest of the Fred Whitton by itself. And you were in a fairly big group then.
Yeah, it was. It was probably about 20 riders, maybe.
Mm-hmm. So what was going through your head there? Was the pace too fast, too slow? Were you just sitting in or playing your cards close to your chest? What was going through your mind on that first big climb?
I just wanted to try and follow some of the stronger riders, because Giles Drake, who has been very fast around there before, who used to hold the course record, was just setting a ferocious pace up there, and it sort of split up towards the top, and I just wanted to follow their wheel, because I knew a few guys in that group who I've been fairly close to, and I knew if they could hack the pace or drop off, I could just ride with them. So that was my game plan.
So strategy already playing. I don't think Giles Drake, I didn't see his finishing time.
He DNF'd.
Yeah, so I wonder whether he was just doing a bit of pace setting for some other people.
No, he double punctured.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right, okay, that's really unfortunate.
It was, yeah.
So it's good to have someone experienced set the pace a bit up there. And then that first descent, so they had repaved some of that.
It was, yeah.
What was that descent like with all the new...
It wasn't too bad. It felt fast.
Yeah.
I took some bottles at the top, so I had to do a little sprint on, but the descent was fine. It was very fast, and the tarmac was really smooth and felt like an alpine climb.
Yeah, it's quite nice up there, isn't it? It's quite slippery in the morning, I've heard, but that looks absolutely stunning. So after that, we have this very long section down by the lake until you hit the A66. That's probably where that big group was really important to you.
It was, yeah, and felt a bit slow along the A66, but we were going quite fast, and a few people who we overtook was catching on, and they pulled a few turns.
Okay, that's your speed. Do you know what your average speed was?
I roughly know what it was to bottom of Honister.
Yeah, well, your official speed was the average speed was 19.9 miles per hour or 32 kph for the entire thing. So you must have been hammering down the A66.
Yeah, it was probably, I think it was 27 mile an hour average.
Yeah.
Along there. I think there was a slight tailwind. I can't quite remember now, but...
So then turning into Keswick, and this is when groups get broken up a little bit, isn't it? Because the roads are quite potholed, and there's a few twists and turns, cars, etc. So it's really hard to keep a good group together down there. But how was that Lakeshore?
Yeah, I just tried to stay towards the front because it was like a group of 20, so I just wanted to stay top 5 wheels.
Yep.
And there was cars either side of the road, hundreds of cyclists all on that road.
Yep.
Because this is when we start to meet more riders, setting off a bit later, and them riders gradually catching up to them. And it was a bit dicey trying to get by riders and get through cars. And just trying to stay towards the front was really important.
Sounds like a great tactic. You could easily fall off the back there, can't you, while you're dodging cars and stuff?
Because if someone doesn't want to try and go for some gap between a car or trying to go for some safe gap, you can get 10 seconds easily, and then you have to do like a 600 watt surge, which you can just be prevented if you were towards the front.
Yeah, absolutely. It calms down a bit when you turn towards Honister. The first really tough climb, isn't it?
Yeah.
And warmed up by then?
Yeah, more or less, yeah.
So the interesting thing actually is on that Lakeshore, you normally have to take on some fuel, don't you? Because you think you've got the big Honister. So amongst all that cars and traffic you were eating, so what sort of nutrition were you taking in down that road?
So I was just taking flapjack. I just wanted to keep it simple at the start, just no gels yet because I didn't want to upset the stomach or anything. So I was having the carbs, and I think at that point I was having some electrolytes in my drinks as well.
Okay.
I was mixed up with carbs and electrolytes, but...
So you're talking slow release carbs and electrolytes in your drink. Really sensible, actually. And how was that sitting on your stomach? Feeling good?
Feeling really good. I've experimented a lot during road racing this year, so I found out what worked. It took a while to find out, but what worked. You
do well. And a flapjack, what, about that sort of size? What, 60 grams ish?
Yeah,
a decent size one.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah. A good sort of medium sized flapjack and stuff. So top of Honister then, how are you feeling at the top of Honister now? You're giving the legs a bit of a hammering.
We used quite a tough pace because I kept with. Did I keep with them? There was the two Lacole guys.
Yep.
I think they were just ahead actually, and then I was on that. They dropped up. We all went down a descent, but there was someone who had an accident, unfortunately. So it was it got a bit split up because we had to stay to one side of the road, and then they just went flying down, and I stayed back a bit because how we were getting navigated around there. So that got they just got a 20-second gap, and I just couldn't close it, which in hindsight was probably a blessing because I would have blew up if I went with them.
That's really intelligent thinking, actually, Henry, recognising that as well. So that Honister descent, that's normally nearly always an accident down there, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's quite sketchy, and I think people don't recognise actually how bumpy, rutted that is.
It is.
It's very easy to lose control of your handlebars down there, isn't it? And get an accident. In fact, some years they've actually stopped the race there, haven't they? While they've had
I've heard about it. Yeah,
ambulances coming in, etc., to try and get there. So you've done well to keep out of trouble and get through that safely. After that, sort of check in, like you say, you saw the Lacole guys go, decided not to chase that down.
I did, yeah.
Keep to your strategy. Yep.
And then I just went up Newlands. I was by myself going along here by. Is it all?
Buttermere,
Buttermere,
yep.
Just going along here. And then I caught this other guy up who was in the original group who tried to go with these Lacole guys. I caught him up there, and then we just worked together, went back down to Keswick, and then up here.
Up to Winlatter, yep.
And
so
then,
you by yourself for quite a long time then on that climb?
Yeah, and then after Winlatter I just went down a descent by myself. I think just stopped to get some water or something, but then got caught back up because he was quite a good descender. Yep. And all the way together till Cold Fell, where 3 other guys who were behind working well because we were going quite easy, I would think.
So that next stage, that's that important West Coast stage, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where it's a long drag, and to not be on yourself, be on your own there can be quite horrible sometimes. But did you manage to get up with a group? And
it was just me and this other guy.
Oh, really?
Till Cold Fell, yeah.
And sharing turns at the front?
Sharing turns, yeah. Pushing a good pace.
Had a bit of a headwind this year, didn't you? It
did. It was actually quite a big headwind.
Yeah.
It was quite... Yeah.
It's we were out riding somewhere else and we're thinking, oh, those guys. It's but it didn't seem to slow you down too much. Little group going and your bike working well.
It was working really well, yeah. And then
taking on lots of fuel again.
exactly. And we got caught by Ed Clancy and Will Weatherhall at up Coldfell, so that gave a nice run into Hardknott.
Yeah, I saw Ed Clancy was there actually. He's, you beat him.
Yeah,
By quite a bit. A bit. Minutes.
I think it was like a minute.
Yeah,
it wasn't.
It's So the next thing is your nutrition strategy changes a little bit as you start to get towards the end of the route, and you've got those 2 epic climbs ahead of you. So is this when you start to think about taking on some more gels and some more simple carbohydrate?
I was doing that Coldfell. That's when I started to change from those simple carbs to more complex, like gels and blocks sort of stuff. And started off with some blocks. Just the beta fuel ones.
Yeah, they're fantastic, aren't they? Yeah, like rocket fuel. Yeah.
Exactly. And then I was having gels towards just before Hardknott.
Cool. And how did that Hardknott ascent go? That's the most exciting part of the route, I think, isn't it?
I just got in my lowest gear and just did what I could up it.
Yeah.
It's like there's no other way around it. You just have to go in your lowest gear and just
stay out of trouble, try not to dab, and just get it done. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's good. And the atmosphere up there is electric, isn't it? It really does.
Yeah, it was.
You find another 10 watts from the amount of people cheering you on and stuff, don't you, up there? Excellent. Descent, all good, safe?
Yeah. I was I felt a bit slow down it, but you have to go a bit slow.
I think it's actually very wise to go slow down there. Again, it's a real accident hotspot, isn't it? It's very, very easy, and you'll see people the bikes just get away from them.
Exactly.
Back a few years ago, that's where like rim brake carbon wheels used to explode. It's terrifying.
I can imagine it. I was luckily on a disc brake bike, but I wouldn't like to be on a rim brake bike down there.
No, it's definitely not. And then obviously the last little climb actually is a bit of an anticlimax. The Rhinos pass from that side is actually okay. They're feeling good, and that's almost at the point where you go, I'm almost home. What sort of time?
Yeah.
At what point did you go, I've got a sub 6 hour time in me? Was that?
I didn't really know till I got to Bleetarn, because I didn't know if it was an hour from the bottom of Hardknott or the top of Hardknott to get to finish. And being doing my time, I wasn't that sure which one it was, so I was a bit apprehensive on what time I was going to get.
Okay.
But at Bleetarn, I knew I was on for a good time.
So Bleetarn is, you've come down Rhinos, you've turned around the corner, you've gone the last climb, and that's when you said, right, I'm on for a time here. Did you just hammer it?
Yeah.
From there on, fuel up.
I took a bottle at Bleetarn as well,
but
I dropped it after trying to change bottles after the descent, so that was a bit annoying, but here's what it is.
So when you say you've taken bottles, you sound like you had some support out on the route.
I did. I was lucky to have my mum and dad out on the route.
They were at the bottom of Whinlatter.
They were at the top of Kirkstone. It's because I could just save a kilo off my bike for...
Yeah, the first climb,
Yeah, and that's going at the pace we went at as well. It was definitely worth doing that if you had the support out there.
Yeah.
And then I took 2 750s at Whinlatter, because...
That's to get you down the west coast,
And then I was going to take 1 500 at Bleetarn, which I would recommend as well.
You drunk quite a lot then, like 1.5 litres of water on that west coast.
Yeah.
That's probably more than most people would do, I think.
Yeah.
That sort of shows the level of pace that you were doing. And then 1 more bottle as well. And you didn't stop at any of the official road stations?
No. Didn't really have time if I wanted to do the time.
Absolutely. And then... hammer it back to the finish.
Exactly.
And how did you feel like crossing? Because you must have seen then that you were on for that, because you've been trying sub 6 hours for 3 years now.
No, it was only I didn't really try last year. No? It was a bit unexpected because I didn't know what shape I was going into it. But this year I was trying for it, And then the first year was just a bit of fun, not expecting anything. But it was quite a nice feeling. The
first year you would have been 18 and probably one of the youngest people on the course.
Yeah, 17. So
17, young, that's incredible. And we just off camera, we were chatting through your hours back when you were your first time. You were doing about 7 hours a week of training.
Yeah, roughly.
You upped that last year, and this year you've been averaging about 13 hours a week.
Yeah.
Of training, and 2 things that you think you've introduced this year was your strength training, which we sort of introduced you to here. You've taken it up at a gym.
Yeah, I have.
And that's been going pretty well?
Yeah, it has. Yeah, that's helped a lot. Just with leg strength and power.
Raw power.
I hope.
And then you joined a couple of our VO2 Max classes just to get a feel for what VO2 Max training actually...
Very tough.
Yeah. Was that a bit of a wake up, when...
It was a huge wake up, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I've just done like the Zwift ones where it's been tough, but that was another level.
Mm-hmm. And then once you've experienced it, you just sort of pretty much taken that on yourself to do, which is incredible. And you find that time after work, your days off work.
Exactly.
Sometimes even riding before work as well, I think.
Yeah, that's quite, yeah. I often did the gym before work, just because of how I planned my training, but yeah.
Yeah, it's really wise. Get the sort of the fatigue in your legs in the morning, recover, and then your rides in the evening. That's a really clever way of doing it. It's so what would you do differently if you're going to do it again, or is this it?
This is it. This is it. But if I was going to do it again, I think when I did my training rides, my Zone 2 rides, probably a bit easier. I probably did them probably a bit too hard.
Okay.
Probably did far too many efforts on them.
You went into this quite well rested, though. I mean, we were having some good conversations about how you manage your fatigue and stuff. So not done too badly. Okay.
Maybe a bit more strength, definitely more core mobility stuff, not enough of that.
And what makes you say that? What did you recognise? Is that like comfort, positioning, aerodynamics?
I was just sitting far too forward on the saddle. I didn't feel that controlled on the climbs either. I think something that would have helped a lot more.
Yeah. So it's good recognising all these things. It's the reviewing stuff is the most important. A couple of things I want to talk about is the preparation you did on your bike as well. Now, you completely race prepped this. You had it all stripped down and completely rebuilt it for this. And you treated yourself to a new Di2 group set, which is pretty cool. Gear ratios you're running?
52, 36, 11, 34.
Yeah, so pretty big gears on the front and a smaller or an easier cassette on the back. It's a nice setup, isn't it, with that 12-speed, the fact that you can mix that big cassette.
Exactly. Ideally, I would have a 34, but for the racing that I do on it and general riding, it wasn't worth out changing for one ride.
Oh, that's interesting. So you still think you would have preferred to have the 3450 crankset for...
Yeah, okay. Definitely.
It didn't seem to slow you down at all.
No,
It's a specialised SL7. SL6, sorry. Yeah, it's looking pretty good as well. You need to keep it in really, really good condition.
Thank you.
It's a really good aero position here. What's this, 120 stem?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's it looks absolutely fantastic. And 30mm tyres.
30mm tyres.
Yeah.
Biggest difference, definitely.
Yeah.
Just so comfortable on the road. And they just glided. I would have 32s.
If the frame would take it, yeah.
But it's a 2019 frame, so... But, yeah, it takes nicer wide tyres, so...
And what sort of pressures are you running, dear?
60 PSI on the day.
And there was one thing, you actually spotted a little nick in your tyre,
I did.
You? And you were thinking, oh no, I've got to buy a new tyre, and
should I risk it?
Should you risk it? And I was like, Henry, come on, with all this preparation that you put into all this training, wouldn't you be gutted if you got a puncture? Are you glad you did now?
I'm very glad, yeah.
Yeah.
No punches on the day.
Big ride like this, every single bit of preparation you can do to mitigate any sort of failure. Yeah, perfect. The other thing I'm interested in is your little repair kit. Can you show us what you carry? This is what's that weigh? About 300 grams?
Probably less.
Yeah. What have you got? What have you got in here? What would the bare minimum you'd take?
The bare minimum. So I had one tyre lever.
One tyre lever, yeah.
Because even if I did get a puncture, I still wanted to get round.
Yeah, these Pedros ones are really good actually. They're properly solid, aren't they? They're really good.
Yeah, I get along with those quite well. And then I probably, if I thought about it a bit more, a TPU tube would have been a bit better, but that's just a normal butyl tube. Yeah. It fits quite well with the shape of the saddlebag as well.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Well, so one normal tube, nothing too
and then
just there.
I had a pump as well in my back, but yeah.
So you used one gas canister and one small mock-off inflator.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's and that's it.
That's it.
No chain tool, no nothing.
No, because if I had a chain tool, I didn't think it was worth.
Yeah, absolutely. At least
repair that.
With a broken chain, at least you can probably sort of freewheel and get somewhere, I suppose. Or but with a puncture, you can't even do freewheel. So, yeah, that's quite bold.
I had a 6mm in the back of my jersey as well to take up the axle.
And that's all you had, just one 6mm Allen key all on its own.
Yeah,
that's definitely ambitious. And you got your Wahoo.
I did.
Head unit. You liking the Wahoo?
I really like. I've had it 3 years. Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, I don't like the touch screen. Just because of how the weather is around here, and I just prefer the buttons on it.
Cool.
And the mapping on it is really good.
Yeah, it's for doing what you're doing when you want to keep a track of stats, key stats in a race. I think it's one of the clearest displays you can have in just, what's my heart rate, what's my power doing. Oh, no power meter actually.
No power meter. I set mine off for the recall and never bought another one.
And missing it?
No, not really.
It's interesting. I think there's a lot of people that do that. They kind of learn from it, and once you've learned, what your zones feel like, you then establish. Cool. One more question for you, Henry.
Yeah.
What's next?
Three Peaks, a few more. I've got a few national road races.
Three Peaks cyclocross race.
Three Peaks. I want to do well at that. So I did it last year, but better this year, I hope. Okay,
that's your next target. You're targeting the big sort of monuments in the UK in Fred Whitton, Three Peaks. Yeah. It's why not? Look forward to seeing what you've got to do next.
Hopefully so.
And, brilliant. Thank you so much for sharing that journey with us, Henry. I'm so impressed with the amount of preparation that you put into this, and I hope you guys are inspired too. Under 21 rider, fantastic time. It all comes down to a dedication to training, that real commitment and planning, preparation. Well done.
Thank you very much.